I will never forget that morning at the dog shelter. A dark corridor, the smell of dampness, the barking of dozens of dogs echoing from all sides. My husband and I walked behind our daughter, Emma, trying not to lose sight of her in all that noise and chaos. She moved slowly, stopping at each cage, studying each dog carefully, then moving on in silence. She hadn't said a single word that morning, just as she hadn't for the past 4 years. At the very end of the corridor, tucked away in a shadowed corner, was the last cage. A shelter worker, an older woman named Karen, quietly told us that no one had wanted this dog for a very long time. A border collie named Mia lay curled in the corner, her back turned to the bars. She didn't react to the noise, the people, or anything at all. Emma walked straight up to the cage and stopped. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then my daughter, who had not spoken for 4 years, softly, but clearly, said 2 words. "Come here." Mia lifted her head. Slowly, she stood and walked straight to the bars, straight to Emma. Karen froze. My husband grabbed my hand so tightly it hurt. And I just stood there, unable to breathe. Mia stood at the bars, looking at Emma. And in that moment, all I could think about was how long it had taken us to get here. Emma had once been a talkative, joyful child. She spoke her first words earlier than expected. The pediatrician always told us her speech development was excellent. At home, she never stopped talking, commenting on everything, asking endless questions, even singing little songs she made up herself. Sometimes, my husband and I joked that she would talk the entire world into exhaustion. Then, everything changed. She was 2 years old. We were walking in a park near our home. Emma ran ahead of me along the path, laughing. I looked away for just a second to check a message. That was all it took. A crow dropped from the sky, silent, sudden, like a shadow. It flapped wildly, pecked at Emma's cheek, and tangled itself in her hair. It lasted only seconds. But her scream, it was something I had never heard before and never heard again. I ran to her, drove the bird away, pulled her into my arms. The scratch on her cheek was small. I thought she would be fine. But the next morning, Emma didn't speak. At all. A day passed. Then a week. Then a month. The words never came back. Doctors gave us different explanations. Some called it selective mutism, others said it was severe psychological trauma. We were sent to speech therapists, psychologists' appointments twice a week for 2 years. Every specialist was kind, careful, professional. But the result was always the same. Emma would sit there, calm, attentive, and silent. At home, she understood everything. She followed instructions, nodded, shook her head, used gestures. She was still bright, still present. Just, without a voice. Over time, we learned to live that way, to communicate without words. But deep down, I never accepted it. When Emma was 5, something changed. One evening, she sat by the window, watching outside. A neighbor walked past with a large, shaggy dog. Emma pressed her forehead to the glass and whispered, almost inaudibly, "Dog." I froze. I asked her to repeat it. She didn't. A few weeks later, a dog appeared on TV. Emma said one word, "Big." That's when we realized something. It only happened with dogs. Only them. Not people, not other animals, not in any other situation. Only dogs. Our new psychologist, a young woman named Sarah, listened carefully. Then she suggested something that terrified us. Take her to a shelter, she said. No pressure, just let her be around dogs. My husband immediately refused. So did I. After what happened in the park, we had avoided animals completely. But Sarah gently reminded us. Dogs were the only thing that made Emma speak. And eventually, we agreed. That morning, at the shelter, I held Emma's hand tighter than ever. Karen met us at the entrance and reassured us we could leave at any time. Inside, it was loud, barking, doors slamming, voices echoing. I bent down and asked Emma if she was okay. She nodded and stepped forward. Cage after cage. Dog after dog. A golden retriever jumped and whimpered. Emma kept walking. A terrier barked wildly. She paused, then moved on. No words. No reactions. My husband squeezed my shoulder. We both felt it. This wasn't going to work. Then, the last cage. The dark corner. Mia. Karen explained quietly, 3 months in the shelter. No response to staff, barely eating, never approaching anyone. Families had come. And left. Emma stepped forward. Stopped. 1 second. 2. 3. Then, calmly, she said, "Come here." Mia lifted her head. Stood. Walked. Straight to Emma. No hesitation. No fear. Emma reached through the bars and touched her. Mia didn't pull away. She leaned into that small hand. No one moved. Karen stood frozen. A staff member stopped mid-step. My husband turned away, hiding tears. And Emma smiled. A real smile. Wide, bright, alive. The kind we hadn't seen in years. Later, Karen showed us Mia's file. A single word from her previous owner. Broken. After a thunderstorm, Mia had changed. She ran away, came back different, silent, distant. So he gave up on her. Karen closed the folder and said softly, "She's not broken, she was just scared, and she shut down." She looked at Emma. Then at us. She was waiting for someone who understood. We brought Mia home 4 days later. At first, she stayed in the corner. Quiet, careful, watching. Emma didn't rush her. She simply sat nearby, reading, drawing, living. Together. On the 5th night, the baby monitor turned on. We saw Emma sitting beside Mia in the dark, talking. We couldn't hear the words. But we saw her lips move. And Mia listening. 3 months later, everything changed. Emma spoke to Mia freely. Then one evening, she looked at me and said, "Mom, Mia wants to eat." I dropped everything. Held her. And for the first time in 4 years, she laughed. Soon, she began speaking at school. 1 word. Then 2. Then full sentences. One day, she raised her hand in class and answered a question out loud. Her teacher called us, overwhelmed with joy. Months later, Karen called. I handed the phone to Emma. She hesitated, then said, "Hello, this is Emma." Silence. Then quiet crying on the other end. Later, I asked Emma why Mia helped her speak. She thought for a moment. Then said, "Because she was scared too, and she still came closer." For 4 years, doctors tried everything. And they truly did. But what medicine couldn't do in years, a quiet dog from a dark corner did in a single moment. Because Mia didn't see Emma as broken. She saw someone who understood her, without words. And sometimes, that's where healing truly begins.
If this tale moved you, if you felt the tension, the heartbreak, and the triumph, please support our channel by hitting the like button and subscribing. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more thrilling, emotional, and inspiring stories your way. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Do you believe dogs have an extraordinary sixth sense? Share your thoughts and personal stories with us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.